Sup, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. As I keep making these videos and keep watching the channel grow and grow and grow, it only makes me wonder, why didn't I try this sooner? This is so much fun. Not just reading RPG horror stories, but interacting with y'all in the comments. Man, we have like a really cool community here on Tales Tomorrow channel. Thank you guys so much for being so freaking cool. For real. Anyway, let's get to the first RPG horror story for today. Story can progress until you do something. This is a story from several years ago, so forgive me if some of the details are a bit vague. I'd recently found the Call of Cthulhu RPG and felt like giving it a go with my old gaming group. To ease myself into the game, I ran one of the scenarios from the book itself. At this point, all I remember is there was an old house with some sort of a horror demon locked in the attic, and the words kept it there were about to give out. Call of Cthulhu? Oh, I've always wanted to try Call of Cthulhu. It sounds so fun and mystical. So I gather my group, we all have fun building characters, and we're off. The game started fairly well with everyone investigating clues, role-playing with the NPCs, and being genuinely intrigued by what was going on. This is up until we reached the old house, where they began looking around. They heard a scratching noise from the attic. At this point, one of my players, let's call him Jonathan, says, "There's obviously something dangerous in the attic." I'm thinking this is good. The players aren't complete idiots and have started piecing clues together. This is until his next sentence. "It's obviously a trap, and I'm far too smart to fall for this trick. Nobody go up there." At this point, the game just ground to a complete halt, as Jonathan refused to investigate the obvious clue and just sat there smugly talking about how he'd outsmarted me but not going into the attic. I believe at one point he called himself too genre savvy to go up there. Here's the tip. If the genre is a mystery and you refuse to investigate, then perhaps you don't actually know how the genre works. Yeah, Jonathan kinda sucks, dude. If the whole point of your game is to play Call of Cthulhu, that is mystery-oriented, is to investigate mysteries, if you choose not to investigate mysteries and just not do anything, well, then you kinda defeat the purpose of playing that specific game. It's kinda like playing D&D and you sign up a character to be an adventurer and part of Adventurers Guild that walks around and deals with problems, and you have a monster problem in a cave, and you decide, no, you know what, that'll be way too dangerous for me. I'm too smart about this. I'm not gonna get myself killed. I'm gonna go down to the next village over, open up a bakery, make all the croissants, cakes, and apple turnovers, and just start my business legally there, and therefore I will never have to worry about going to a monster cave again because I'm too smart, and I'll be able to pay for a house, for a home insurance, I'll be able to have a wife or a husband and kids and a dog and a cat and a Lamborghini and maybe a pet dinosaur or something, but I'm not going to the monster cave because I'm too smart. I could die in a monster cave. If you're playing D&D and you're part of the Adventurers Guild that is meant to go into the cave and clear out the monsters, and a huge part of the game is combat, and you don't do the combat, well, that sort of defeats the purpose of doing anything at all. You could just be like, I don't do anything because I want to make sure my character stays alive. If you're not putting your character to some sort of exciting risks and danger and stuff, I mean, obviously I don't think the DM is trying to kill the players. I know Call of Cthulhu can be kind of lethal at times, but if you're not doing the thing that's the hook for the campaign, right? If you're not doing the thing that you signed up for, then what's the point of even playing at that point? Imagine playing Vampire the Masquerade, where you have to deal with like gangs and clans of vampires, but you decide not to deal with any of it and just live in a mountain somewhere, eating like squirrel blood or something. I don't know. Or you're playing Pathfinder, but instead of finding paths, you're finding ways to circumvent the paths and just not go on any paths at all. Adventures? Is that what Pathfinder is? I mean, I guess the DM could just say that the wards on the attic have broken free and the monster is now loose downstairs, and I guess that could be like a great way to keep the party going, but the whole point of mystery is to look into mystery and discover what it is. If you're not participating, then what is the point? DM threw out entire campaign without telling anyone. A few years ago, a friend got into D&D, and he invited a few of us and his significant other to play a homebrew with him as the DM. None of us had ever played before, so he actually had a lot more control over what was happening than a lot of DMs I've seen since. He kept the master copies of everyone's character sheets, the notes some of us took on sessions, dice sets, maps, figures, etc. Well, we used to meet up once a week for about 6 months straight. Then we had to take a break because someone's work schedule changed, and he got a new job with new hours. It took maybe a month for us to get together for another session, this one on one of girls' birthdays. Well, it turns out that that month he had scrapped everything, thrown all of our old stuff away, and at the birthday party basically told everyone to make a new character and pick new dice from his collection. Wait, huh? What do you mean he threw everything? Included the dice? Huh? I think we're all too shocked to argue in the moment. We just spent the whole time building new characters. Characters that we did nothing with, because we never had another session after that with him. So just so we clear, right, I'm gonna just read off the list from side here. I have the actual post here. It's not actual, this book is fake. Basically the DM, what they're telling us, the DM threw away the master copies of everyone's character sheets, the notes that people took, notes that took 4 sessions, dice sets, maps, and figures. Those were all just thrown out. Why? It's so much time and effort, even money. Dice cost money. Dice sets cost money. Figurines, I know, could be pretty expensive too. Why are you throwing it away? This is completely bizarre. This doesn't make sense. It's only been like a month break? Dude, there's some games I've been in that had like 2 or 3 months breaks because, well, work schedule sometimes is just a pain, and scheduling can be a terrible thing for any TTRPG. But you just don't throw things out like that, what? And then to spring into players that are like, hey, yeah, everything's thrown out, make new character sheets. Yeah, no wonder people don't want to play as the new characters, or probably don't want to play with you again, if that's what you're going to be doing. If you're just going to be tossing things away whenever you feel like, yeah, that's going to make people feel very, very bitter. Imagine investing all that time into a character or a story or a narrative, or even taking notes for anything that you found so important, only for it to just be tossed away. That sucks, man. The DM sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you guys, for real. You guys deserve better. That sucks, for real. Is it worth being upset about this Minmaxed DMPC? Oh boy, you had me at DMPC. This is gonna be phrased more as an AITA, since I'm not sure if the horror here is me overreacting or actual issue on the DM's part. Nobody else in the party seems to have a problem, so this is me trying to figure out if it's something I should get over. Obligatory apologies for formatting. I never use Reddit. The cast is pretty small and mildly irrelevant, so here's a rundown. DM as a DM, me, a divine sorcerer. LA, I think it's LA. My good friend and DM in another game, our rogue. You know what, actually, I'm just gonna go with Ellie, because that sounds easier to say than LA. We also have Druid and Wizard, but they're not super relevant to the problem. What is important is that you know everyone, including the Arcane Trickster Rogue, is a spellcaster. So I joined a new game a few months back with my friend Ellie, who is their forever DM for our regular group. We both applied to Roll20 game on a whim and actually got in. The party was 2 other people who had already played a few sessions before losing half the party to scheduling issues. We made some joint characters. Ellie made a princess rogue running away from the civil unrest of her kingdom, and I made her personal sorcerer and bodyguard, and hop right in. There's been a dozen sessions and dozen issues I've had till now, the DM ignoring and making up backstories, and the only real main female NPC being weirdly sexualized, having my backstory revealed during a session I missed without the DM asking if it was okay or even telling me it happened. But I'm gonna focus on the most recent session. With already so many things coming up as red flags, you would think that maybe it might have been just easier to just bow out early on. I mean, here's the thing, right? When it comes to playing D&D, you find some small issues here and there, and for the most part, it's not enough to, it's not the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's something specific the DM does later on that really puts you over the edge. But having all these other tiny things build up over time really don't help the case. We started off shortly after the rogue's soul got moved from her body into the only main female NPC I mentioned earlier. We were in a forest talking to an NPC when the BBG randomly showed up throughout a portal with one of the DM's characters from another campaign he's in, where I'm gonna get in later. She ordered the DM's PC to attack the NPC we were talking to and one-hit KO'd him. That's cool, it really established her as a threat. Then she did the exact same thing to the rogue's empty body, completely demolishing it, revealing she was secretly a robot and stealing her power core. Okay, sure. She demanded this evil skin book we've been focusing on keep from her from the campaign so far, and then the DMPC stabbed the wizard, taking out half his health in one blow. The threat was that if we didn't give her the book, she'd do it again for every minute we didn't give her the book. By the time Druid managed to get the book, the wizard already been stabbed to death's door. BBEG decided that she's gonna have the DMPC kill us anyway if we roll initiative. Alright, hold on. There's nothing wrong with establishing your BBEG to be the, you know, the BBEG. The whole point is to show that they're evil, you know, the big bad evil guy. That might be a little bit too extra. You already have one player, basically, their body just completely dead. The other player's on death's doorstep. You got your big MacGuffin. You could just leave the party alone. The DM just goes, nah, you know what? I think the BBG would just kill him anyway because they're just evil like that. Which, I mean, can be a good motivator to get the party really pissed off at them, but as long as the DM handles it fine, well, we'll see though. Here's where my main issue lies. Pre-session, DM was bragging about his optimized new character, the aforementioned DMPC who showed up. He's a barbarian rogue multiclass with a homebrew mage slayer feat that allows him to take an opportunity attack on anyone who casts a spell within 30 feet of him. Also, he has a magic gun that reloads itself and has infinite ammo because sure, there's nothing wrong with playing min-max, but I'll admit that I've had enough issues with them in the past that I don't like playing with optimizers. That is not min-maxed. Min-max is like using in-game mechanics like combination of Polar Master and Sentinel in order to, I guess, lock somebody out from being able to move around and stuff. Like that's using built-in mechanics. This is some homebrewed cockamamie. Having a magical gun of infinite bullets and other magical stuff, that's not min-maxed in the slightest. I'm pretty sure most people don't even have firearms in the D&D games because it's just difficult to balance out. Now, could there be some magical guns? Sure, I completely understand, that's fine. But knowing how this DM is bragging about it instead of just letting the character be the character, that's a bit of a red flag. Just because you made a really cool character, why do you need to brag about them? Maybe I'm just hungry, but I want to describe this on food. Imagine the player is the main course, the main dish for the hour. The DMPC, that's story relevant, is the cool refreshing drink on the side to help the main dish go down smoothly. Not like go downs that die or in sexual way, but like make the story go down smoothly, you know, make everything kind of flow much better. Have them then to sort of steer and adjust the story in a specific way to really make the story way more enjoyable for the player relevant to the story and other players within the story. If you have to brag about how cool, awesome, badass your DMPC is, that's kind of a red flag immediately. Comet is the exact cluster truck you'd expect, an optimized level 9 mage slayer and a handful of level 4 mages. Hold on, what? He's level 9? Hold on. Level 9 Mage Slayer DMPC against a level 4 party? That's way over leveled. That's, I think, way over leveled. Why were you doing that? Rule number 1 about making DMPCs. If you don't want to make DMPCs, make them fair DMPCs. Don't make them twice the level or which, I mean, in this case it is, yeah, basically twice the level or just over twice the level of your party. If they're an antagonist, make them equal to the party, you know, proper challenge rating stuff, you know, action economy, stuff like that. This is a recipe for disaster. If you haven't talked to the DM about this, I hope you do now because this is not cool. We can barely land a hit on this guy, but every time we cast a spell, we get hit with a truck. The DM did make it clear that this was all meant to be over-leveled, since we nat 1 through a portal that teleported us forward into the plot, and past where the encounters were balanced. So I guess it makes sense, but what frustrates me was how the DMPC would take all 3 attacks, enough reaction to attack anyone who used a spell slot, and at least 2 bonus actions per turn, until I pointed it out and he stopped. That might have been an honest mistake, but paired with everything else that really bothered me. No! Whoa, hold on. What? What? None of this makes sense. Why are you having your players roll? I guess you're rolling to see if they'll go forward into the story to make it more challenging. Why? What is the point of it? Are you that creatively bankrupt that you just can't make up a story of how they eventually got to where they are? So you just gotta jump the story forward to really show off that cool DMPC at level 9 and really explain of why they're fighting something super challenging. Also, 3 actions, 2 bonus action, a reaction for every player? Huh? Wait, are you telling me that this guy not only has 3 main actions of attack, 2 bonus actions to probably attack or fling spells, but also has a reaction for every single player? So 4 reactions? Nah, maybe I'm misunderstanding something here completely, but from what I could tell, this is some busted up action economy for the sake of just making you guy overpowered. Nothing about this is min-max. This is just plain overpowered DMPC for DM's power fantasy. This is not min-maxing. This is a DM going for a power trip in order to just bully you guys around because you guys are easy cannon fodder for a super epic DMPC with 3 attack actions, 2 bonus actions, a reaction for each and every single one of you, as well as a magic gun that has infinite bullets and probably has other bullshit to it. Christ, dude. Combat just becomes the DMPC cyclically downing the wizard and damaging everyone else. Me reviving the wizard for the next turn, and everyone else just doing their level best to get a hit. Every time we actually get a good hit in, the DMPC says the NPC seems unfazed, and rinse and repeat. After a lucky double nat 20, we finally managed to level the playing field by doing 41 damage and getting his gun away from him. And the DM drops a magic nuke and insta-kills everyone but the DMPC with no save. Right, of course it does, because hey, guess what, players? Oh, fuck you, this is my power fantasy as a DM. Man. You know what this actually feels like? It feels like a kid that makes a super cool, epic, extra character and says, like, every time you go, like, alright, we deal 41 damage, and he goes, nah, because my guy is so cool and epic and tough and unfazed by the atrocities and the pain you guys give him, that he pulls out a nuke and explodes you guys. You guys are dead, but my epic character gets alive, unscathed, looking cool and stuff. That's literally what the DM sounds like. It sounds like a kid that's just like so butthurt and upset that their extra super cool DMPC got 41 damage and now it has to just insta-kill everybody. Good job, DM. You ruined the game. We get sent to Purgatory, where Moon God says he did that because the DMPC was about to absolutely demolish all of us anyway. So he wanted to save us by killing us. And anyway, he'll revive us. There was lore stuff about that, but I kind of checked out because I was angry and all isn't super relevant. Honestly, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised other players aren't upset about this because this looks contrived as hell. I should be clear, I do have anger issues that I'm working through. I had to step away a few times throughout and after the battle so that I wouldn't say or do anything stupid. I acknowledge that this could totally be those anger issues reacting to an unbalanced situation, especially since everyone else thought it was cool that we got to meet the Moon God, which is why I'm asking, is there a problem here I should bring up with the DM, or do I just need to file this under getting angry because it seemed unfair and keep going without comment? Honestly, I'd probably just leave the campaign at that point, because I don't think it's gonna be worth it. I understand you want to blame your anger issues on this reaction, but honestly, your reaction is fully and completely justified because what the DM is pulling is not some min-max build or some extra like super powered giga brain chat build with ultimate strategies. It's just straight up busted. Your DM is literally shoving all these overpowered abilities and attacks and magic items and actions and double actions and multiple reactions and everything for absolutely no freaking reason in the slightest. There's no need for your DM to have this super awesome epic DMPC that hijacks the story and makes a fight so you would die just so you would meet a moon god. For real though, honestly, I think you have every right to be upset and angry over how this went down. Maybe even talk to the other players. Ask him how they feel, because if it was me there at the table, I'll be kinda pissed off because that seems so contrived, unnecessary, and busted to hell. That's not even min-max. It's not even considered min-max. It's just straight up broken. That's all it is. It's just an overpowered power fantasy DMPC for a DM to play out their power fantasies. And you guys were the cannon fodder, the targets, the unfortunate victims to watching how I'm assuming a man-child, I don't know the DM personally, but I'm gonna assume, my guess is probably a man-child getting a large stiffy watching his super cool DMPC just completely obliterate a party of level 4 casters. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.